Good evening. It is time for the Fumblerooski Podcast by Power 88 Dean Radio. So buckle up. We are in for a wild ride. So you guys know the drill. I am Adam Wright with Justin Tucker. So we have a great show planned for tonight. We have Mel Kiper's latest mock draft we're going to go over. We're going to split that into thirds. But first, we have to go over a retirement of a certain player, somebody who's in all of Patriots fans' hearts. Julian Edelman, wide receiver. He was drafted in 2019. He retires after the team announced he was going to be released after a failed physical. So this guy is somebody who has won 3 Super Bowls, has won a Super Bowl MVP, and has you name it, any Super Bowl that he has been in, he's been right in the middle of it with any sort of iconic play. Just name it. Super Bowl 49, the go-ahead touchdown pass. Super Bowl 51, the Edelman catch, as we call it, the juggling circus catch. There was in Super Bowl 53 when he caught the go-ahead. No, when he won Super Bowl MVP. So this is a guy who he has no shortage of iconic moments in his career. He racked up some statistics during his time from 2013 on. But Justin, what do you make of this guy's career?
Well, first and foremost, congratulations on a wonderful career of Julian Edelman. Happy retirement. As far as his career is, I think his regular season is something to be desired for. I think his yards were not there as far as the all-time rankings. But in the postseason, this guy came to show up. This guy was phenomenal in the postseason. And when it came to Super Bowl time, he never failed. So as far as the postseason, he's clutch, and he was always reliable when Tom Brady needed him, and became a Super Bowl MVP because of that. Hard as nails, tough, reliable, willing to fight for the extra yards, can catch, punt return. Even played it down on defense before. I was surprised about that. So yeah, I think he's had one heck of a career, and I think he'll be forever immortalized in Patriot history.
Right. This is somebody where you look at it as a Patriots fan and you talk about one of the perfect Patriots, somebody who always just sacrifices. He does literally everything to win. He breaks his freaking neck to make any play. It was unbelievable. And people overlook this stage of his career, those beginning years from 2009 to 2013, when he really started to take off as a wide receiver. He took on a utility role where he was a punt returner. He played some downs on defense. He was doing literally everything. In fact, we all know what he can do at quarterback, but coming out of being a quarterback out of Kent State, that's another thing. Drafted out of the 7th round as a quarterback. Well, he wasn't drafted as a quarterback, just a football player, literally. And that's what he wound up being for the first few years of his career. And, as for there's a lot of controversy right now going on with his career, whether or not he's a Hall of Famer. I have to agree. I don't think he's a Hall of Famer with you, Justin. I know you've said he's not a Hall of Famer, but the argument that I take that I'll have is, if he has a couple more seasons of 1,100 yards, I think he'd have my vote. I really do. I think he has as many. We were talking a little bit about off the air about this earlier on in the before we started recording, but I was saying he has, in terms of postseason pedigree, he has as many iconic moments, if not more, than any wide receiver who has ever played the game. You can make that case. He's made more. I know you talk about Jerry Rice with the statistics. I know we can talk about Michael Irvin, but look at Julian Edelman. All of these, you just name the postseason game he's been a part of, and he was right in the middle of it. I think there were only a couple where you could actually look at and he said, well, he didn't really make that much of an impact. And I think they were both in Denver. But other than that, there was against your Ravens in 2014, he threw a touchdown pass.
We're not going to talk
again,
about
but I am. In Super Bowl 53, he won Super Bowl MVP. Super Bowl 49, he catches the go-ahead touchdown pass in a comeback in a game for the ages, really. One of the great Super Bowls of all time. Super Bowl 51, he's making one of the amazing catch in a great catch in the midst of one of the the greatest comeback in Super Bowl history. Just name the postseason game, and he's played some sort of a role. And if you look at it that way, and if you add a little bit more on the regular season stats, then I think he's a Hall of Famer in my book. And for his legacy, he deserves every bit of the fame that he gets for what he has done. That man played his ass off. He was a 7th round pick, being drafted as a quarterback, and he deserves all the respect he's getting.
Okay. Let's calm down here, Patriots Nation. Let's calm down on the Julian Edelman hype train now that he's retired and all.
You disagree?
First off, for him to get even 1,100 yards in like the next 2 seasons, I don't think it's still a clear cut he's a Hall of Famer. But let's just say, for the sake of argument,
he has 6,800 right now, so he'd have 9,000 yards.
He'd have 9,000. It's still not in the 5-digit club, but I'll concede. Let's say, for the sake of argument, yes. You realize Cam Newton would be his quarterback for at least one of those seasons,
which would make it that much more impressive, wouldn't it?
You would have to believe that Cam Newton would have to give him the ball enough times for him to get 1,100 yards. And you don't believe Cam Newton enough for that to happen.
I don't, which is why it would be a lot more. It would make it that much more impressive if he did it. Wouldn't you agree?
It'd be impressive, but unfortunately, Julian Edelman's not a young man anymore. He's an old man. An old man with a bunch of injuries piled on. And I think last year was his year and his final year to see if he had something left, and he didn't have much left, unfortunately.
Which makes it that much more impressive if you were able to do that. I know we're playing the if game, but you're saying even if he did, you're naming all these long odds. If he pulled it off with an incompetent noodle arm quarterback, Cam Newton, and at his age and with the injuries he's gone through, it would make it that much more impressive, and then he would absolutely get my vote for a Hall of Fame ballot.
Look, Adam, just do it with me. Superman.
No, that's not happening. Cam Newton is no.
He's gonna be your savior back in New England. He's gonna be your savior, and you're gonna be like, you know what, Cam Newton? I'm sorry I was so hard on you. You had a good year, and we made the playoffs. I'm sorry I was so hard on you.
It's not happening. Cam Newton is. I love Cam Newton. We're getting a little off topic, but I'll give you a quick take in case I haven't already on this podcast. I love Cam Newton's work ethic. I love how he says all of the right things. He can't play to save his goddamn life right now.
Okay. Let's just say it was an off year. It was a COVID year, and he didn't have the necessary things to work. So I'm going to just say,
I sure hope so.
And let's just move on to this year. As far as Julian Edelman's concerned, we can't do what ifs right now because they're what ifs. It doesn't matter. It's right now. And as far as right now is concerned, he has a long way to go before he's even a possibility in the Hall of Fame. There's a number of other guys I would put in before Julian Edelman. So I get what he's done in the postseason is valuable.
It's extremely valuable. It's the most valuable out of anything. Regular seasons don't mean anything.
But there's a reason why we play regular season games, Adam.
There is a reason, but there's also a reason why we need those regular season players to show up in the postseason, because that means squat when you go up against, let's say the Legion of Boom Seattle Seahawks in the postseason, and you have this dope quarterback this dope wide receiver who racks up all these regular season stats and fails to show up in the time that matters most. When you have a bum like Wes Welker, sorry, not a bum, you got Wes Welker dropping one of the biggest passes.
Bad throw by Brady
of the season.
Bad throw by Brady.
Wasn't perfect, but
I told you it was a bad throw.
If he's as great a wide receiver as everyone say he is, you make that catch.
Edelman
would have made that catch.
If Tom Brady's as great as everybody says, throw a better ball.
That ball was fine. That ball was fine. All right. We need to move on in a second. I just want to add one more element to this. There's a lot of jokes going around with all these players who are former Patriot players who are flocking to Tampa Bay. Imagine this guy in the coming, say, months or in a year or so, this guy winds up being a Tampa Bay Buccaneer.
I sure would not hope so, because again, it'd be kind of like, where would he fit in that like lineup? I guess the short option, but again, Scotty Miller's there, so why would they need him? So
I think Brady would be more than happy to replace Scotty Miller with Julian Edelman.
Oh, Scotty Miller. Come on now. Scotty Miller's not bad. He's faster than Julian Edelman.
I'm not saying he's not. I'm just saying what Brady likes. And I think he loves the idea of everybody coming to coming to Tampa Bay, and it becomes the Patriots South, and they're winning Super Bowls without Bill Belichick. Well, Belichick's sitting there twiddling his thumbs trying to do something with a quarterback whose arm already fell off 2 years ago.
Okay. This is my final point on this, and I will say this. Tom Brady did choose AB to be on that Tampa Bay Buccaneers team. So that
Edelman could choose. Gronk chose to come out of retirement, and he said, hey, I'll do it.
Okay, just because Brady wants certain people there does not necessarily mean it's a good idea for them to get there.
I think it works out fine. They have plenty of talent to just have the team carry his old ass.
He has plenty of talent, so
exactly. Because it's more for the message rather than just the logic side of it. You know, they're going to bring everybody back, all the whole gang that Brady loves, all of Brady's disciples, and they're going to go and they're going to win a Super Bowl or two with them. Brady, Gronk, and Edelman, they reunite, and it turns out that they can still do it. I mean, I didn't think Gronk was going to be a big factor last year at all, to truth be told, but he actually wound up being very solid. He's still a shell of himself, but he wound up being a very solid tight end for them last year. All right. We need to move on and go into this mock draft here, because I mean, it would only make sense that we cover the draft at this point in the season, because the draft is right around the corner, and I think we need to give the people some draft coverage. All right, so Mel Kiper, so he's an NFL draft expert. He's been doing this for over 30 years, and he came up with his latest mock draft. I believe it was this morning or yesterday. But we can break this down into thirds. We can go through the top 10 picks, then the next 10 picks, then we'll go through the last 11. And we'll just go through every pick and there's a couple trades here in the top 10, so this is interesting. All right. So I'm going to go through the top 10. All right. And you just tell me what jumps out to you, Justin. What do you see that you're intrigued by? All right. So I'm going to go through them. All right. You ready?
Yep.
All right. So number 1, this is a shocker here. The Jacksonville Jaguars, they select quarterback Trevor Lawrence out of Clemson.
Stunner.
Big surprise there. We have the New York Jets taking Zach Wilson, quarterback BYU. That's pretty. That's also pretty obvious. Here we go. At number 3, San Francisco, they take Mac Jones at quarterback from Alabama. This is something that I really don't think they should do, but they're going to do it anyways. But I don't know. I just think Mac Jones has that type of play style where it can only work legitimately for a quarterback like Tom Brady, where he doesn't, his rushing game is limited, but his arm talent is just so good that his brain is just so, he's so smart that he's able to just pick apart defenses and just read your mind.
Mm-hmm.
I think at best, honestly, Kirk Cousins at best, this guy winds up like Kirk Cousins, where he's a very good starting quarterback, but nothing more than that. He's just another guy. Just a guy, as Max Kellerman likes to put it, about Tom Brady's cliff that never came. Here we go. Number 4. Here's where the trade comes in. Miami trades up and from Atlanta, and they take Kyle Pitts, tight end out of Florida. That is an intriguing one, and I'll tell you why in a minute. Cincinnati, they take Penny Sewell, offensive line, Oregon. Number 6, Atlanta, from the Miami's pick. They get Trey Lance, quarterback out of North Dakota State. Detroit, at number 7, they take Jamar Chase, wide receiver, LSU. Number 8, Devontae Smith from Carolina. He'll be drafted by Carolina. He's a wide receiver for Alabama. Denver, at number 9, they pick Micah Parsons at linebacker from Penn State. At number 10, the New England Patriots, my New England Patriots. I kind of like this move. Makes a little bit of sense. They trade up with Dallas, and it kind of makes sense for both sides, and I'll tell you why. They trade up with Dallas. They take quarterback Justin Fields out of Ohio State. So Justin, what jumps out to you when you see this?
Well, 2 things: the pick by Miami and the pick by New England. But the one that intrigues me the most is Atlanta at 6, because I always thought if Atlanta was going to go quarterback, they were going to go with Justin Fields, who has always been their guy if he was available at 4. And now that apparently in this mock draft, he's available at 6, and they still don't take him, and they choose instead the other quarterback that might fall, Trey Lance. It's kind of intriguing to me, and I wonder why they would choose Trey Lance over Justin Fields in this draft.
Yeah, you wonder if Mel Kiper just knows something that we don't, and they actually have changed their minds. This is interesting because it makes sense for Atlanta because clearly they saw Trey Lance and they said he's going to go later than 4. So why not just trade back and collect another asset for him? And as for Miami, this kind of has me scratching my head because I don't know. There's something about tight ends and wide receivers. When it comes down to those two, you take the wide receiver. The wide receiver is much more valuable to me unless they wind up being a Tony Gonzalez, a George Kittle, a Rob Gronkowski, one of those caliber. I'm forgetting one. Travis Kelce, yes. One of those. Unless they wind up like them, they're not really a huge factor. Like they're a factor. There's like another pass catcher, but I wouldn't trade up to take one when you have Jamar Chase available. I know I've been very, very high on Jamar Chase, and maybe I'm overrating him just a little bit, but I don't know. What do you think?
2 things. As far as your Jamar Chase things, I think you're a little bit overrating him, but that makes up for the fact that you underrate Jalen Waddle because you think he's going to be a bust. So I think that evens out in the end.
I think he will.
As far as Kyle Pitts is concerned, I think he could provide more value than a wide receiver because he can do what a wide receiver does, but he can also give you blocking and you can put him in different sets. You can put him in a double tight end set. You can put him at the X spot. You can even line him up outside and bully smaller corners in one-on-one situations in the red zone. So if he can do more things for you than possibly a wide receiver can, and can do it all in one, I think he's worth more value than all of them. He's a once-in-a-decade type of prospect, Kyle Pitts is. So I kind of see why people were like, he's a top 5 pick right now.
Weren't people very high on Noah Fant as well? And he's been like I said, just another, like I never said I don't think he sucks, but I think he's just another tight end, just another big body out there who's kind of he gets hurt every now and then. And I just don't think there's anything too special about him. I think he's a very good tight end who's just kind of out there and he just catches passes. He's a good red zone threat. That's about it.
Yeah,
And that could very easily wind up being what Kyle Pitts is.
it could be, but at the same time, Kyle Pitts could be more than that. A little bit faster, a little bit stronger, and probably overall just a little bit better. Kyle Pitts is not going to last until 20. If you're going to get him, you're going to get him in the top 10. He's not making it past 10, I don't believe.
Right. I certainly agree. I just wonder, why is Miami taking him? Because they already have a guy in Mike Gesicki, who I think is already a very good tight end, who could wind up being better with improved quarterback play, either from Tua or from whoever they trade for, Deshaun.
No.
It's a possibility.
You talk that, no.
All right. I'll drop it, but it's disappointing what's going on with him. We're not going to cover that though. I'm not touching that topic of the 10-foot pole. Sorry.
Thankfully.
Whatever happens with Deshaun. It's just really an unfortunate situation. But now another thing here with what New England did, this makes sense for both sides for me, because here we have New England, who needs a quarterback, so they trade up here, and on the other side there's Dallas, who really needs to just rebuild that defense, and I don't think one pick is going to do it. They trade back and they get more assets so that they could use those assets to rebuild the defense. And they don't need a quarterback, and they absolutely don't need help on offense. If they try to do that, good Lord, is that team dumb?
But it's
last year we thought they were going to help their defense, and they draft CeeDee Lamb. Good God. That team is clueless if they go anywhere near offense. Maybe offensive line. Maybe. But what you really need is they need defense.
Yeah. I think they need defensive line help more so than anything. But as far as like where they're at right now, they could still get a top cornerback. I think J.C. Horn would still be on the board at that pick, and he's a solid man corner, so solid man press corner. So if they wanted a corner that can press and be in man all the time and just follow his guy, he's the perfect guy for them.
They could, but why not just trade back and get some more assets so you could rebuild that defense? I mean, these players on offense, they have a very good offense. We can at least acknowledge that. Yeah. And this offense is going to be nothing if they're scoring 40 points and allowing 45 points. And these players are eventually either going to age, or they're going to leave in free agency, or they'll wind up being traded, or so it's at a point where you need to maximize this window where you have Dak Prescott, Michael Gallup, CeeDee Lamb, and Amari Cooper all on the same roster, all while having a solid run game when his head is screwed on straight, and Ezekiel Elliott, and a very good offensive line when it's healthy. So, yeah. And with Dak Prescott, another solid quarterback to throw to all of them and operate this whole offense. So what you need is a defense to really maximize this window. If whether or not they'll be a contending team with this that remains to be seen. But I think we can agree they need to maximize it if they believe that this is working.
Yeah, I think I think they need to start from either the backwards front or just start from the front back to the or backwards front. I think if they're trying to do what I think they're doing, I think they should get a corner to help out with that secondary, and I think that solves one of their problems. But Marcus Lawrence needs to play better. $20 million man a year. You need to play better. If you're not giving me double-digit sacks and being an absolute force out there, that's a problem. Jalen Smith, Leighton Vander Esch, y'all need to play better. Just play better. Don't fall for the fake with Lamar and let Lamar just run up for a touchdown. Don't follow J.K. Dobbins when you see two pulling guards leading you to where the play is. Don't let that happen. Just be smart about this and go back to the level you guys were at in 2018. You guys should be fine. It's just like common sense mistakes. If they just fix up some of the things, they're not that bad. So I think if they just get some help at corner, because I think when Byron Jones left, you saw the problems that happened there when he left in free agency. So I think if they get a corner, they should be fine, I believe.
All right. We've been going over the NFL draft, me and Justin, and we just went over the top 10 top 10 picks for in Mel Kiper's latest mock draft. So we can go into the next 10, where we start with number 11, which is the New York Giants. They take Jalen Waddle at wide receiver for Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
Then you go to number 12, Philadelphia. They take Patrick Surtain, cornerback out of Alabama. Then you have the Los Angeles Chargers, Rashawn Slater, offensive lineman, Northwestern. You got at number 14, there is Minnesota taking Christian Darrisaw, an offensive lineman out of Virginia Tech. At 15, it's Dallas, and they flipped this pick with New England. J.C. Horn, cornerback, South Carolina. This one I agree with. And then you go at number 16, Arizona. That's Caleb Farley, cornerback, Virginia Tech. Las Vegas, Elijah Vera Tucker, offensive lineman, USC. There's 18, Miami. They take Kwity Paye, edge from Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
The Washington football team, Jeremiah Owusu Koromoa. Long, interesting name. Linebacker out of Notre Dame. And at number 20, Chicago, they take Tevin Jenkins, offensive lineman, Oklahoma State, to protect the Red Rifle out of Chicago, Andy Dalton. I don't know why they did that, but it seems like he's a bridge guy and they're dreaming of the possibility of Russell Wilson becoming available so they could just empty the bag for him.
I don't know what's going on in Chicago. Why sign the Red Rifle, who is not better than Mitchell Trubisky, who you could just pick up the 5th-year option for and just give him another a 1-year deal, a 1-year prove-it deal to see if he has something there. And if he doesn't, you boot him. Good luck. See you in the near future. And then you can draft a quarterback, hopefully in the top 10 next year. But unfortunately, no. Chicago's going to Chicago. Probably be too high to pick a franchise quarterback, but too low to get anybody of value. So they're just going to be stuck in the middle like they are right now. A fringe playoff team who honestly shouldn't have made it last year. But because of the 7th seed in the playoffs, they made it. So, yeah.
See, it feels like that's something that wasn't really planned, and they were just going all in on Russell Wilson. They just let Mitchell Trubisky go, and when they found out that Russell Wilson isn't available yet, they just said, let's just settle on Andy Dalton for right now, and in the near future, if Russell Wilson becomes available, we'll be ready. And it seems like that's what they're doing. They're investing on the offensive line. That's something that Seattle never did. And when Andy Dalton's contract is up, they'll just transition over to him. I mean, if he becomes available. Well, that's a big if, but we'll see what happens. All right, but we need to go into this. We needed to go into this middle part of the draft. What sticks out to you, Justin?
The middle part.
The stuff I just listed. Yeah.
Surprisingly, Jalen Waddle to the Giants. I believe if he goes to the Giants, there's absolutely no excuses for Daniel Jones at this point.
If he pans out.
No, not even that. Even if you think he's going to be a bust and he doesn't live up to expectations, and you think he's going to be more like a wide receiver 2 or 3, Kenny Golladay, Darius Slayton, Sterling Shepard, Jalen Waddle, Saquon Barkley. He has weapons on top of weapons on top of weapons. And that defense is solid enough to win you some games. There is no excuse for Daniel Jones if they go the route of Mel Kiper's thing and they choose a wide receiver or another skill position. If they choose a lineman and he doesn't pan out like Andrew Thomas, I'll be fine with it. But at the same time, Daniel Jones needs to perform this year if they go the wide receiver route. because it's pay up or shut up now.
See, here's the thing with Jalen Waddle. I'm a little surprised by that actually, because if you look at the weapons they already have in that offense, I don't feel like they need to add in Jalen Waddle. But what they do need is to work on that offensive line. So why wouldn't they? I don't understand why they can't just take an offensive lineman to help fortify that offensive line so that you can protect Daniel Jones better. That's the only possible way that you could see this experiment that's happening in New York to fail. You know, just to say that they're going to that's the only excuse you could have for Daniel Jones at that point is they don't have an offensive line. Now I agree with you. There still should be no excuse for him to at least be able to be a competent quarterback with the offensive weapons that he has. But it would make it a lot easier for Daniel Jones if you gave him an offensive line. You know, they have enough at wide receiver. They have enough at tight end. They don't need to address those positions. They don't need to address anywhere else on the offense. They don't really need to address anywhere else on the defense. It's at the offensive line. And if you don't address that, then that's just a dumb decision. It's almost equivalent to and I mean not quite, because it was horrible when Dallas did this last year, but they took CeeDee Lamb in the first round instead of going and addressing the defense. This is the same type of thing. You have to go for offensive line here.
Okay, my thing is for New York, if Kyle Pitts is available, I might take him because is Evan Ingram really a Pro Bowl caliber like tight end in comparison to like the AFC caliber guys like the Kelce's and the Wallers and the Andrews?
I don't think you need one.
But he is a Pro Bowl tight end though, so I'm like asking myself.
They have a Pro Bowl wide receiver in Kenny Golladay.
But if I pass to Evan Ingram more often than not, he'll drop the pass for like no good reason whatsoever.
Yeah, it's better than rolling the dice on Kyle Pitts. What if he winds up being what Evan Ingram is? Wasn't Evan Ingram pretty much hyped up to be the type of prospect that Kyle Pitts is also being hyped up to be? It's the same thing with Kyle Rudolph made Pro Bowls as well.
But he's in the later half of his career, and I think you realized he'll get most of the work in the red zone.
I just don't think it's necessary. They have everything they need. What they need is offensive line.
Yeah.
You know, that's something that stands out to me. What else stands out is Dallas. I think this would be a great move. They trade back, they take their guy, and they get more assets out of it. I'm not sure about the details of this trade. Do they get I'm not sure if they got another first round pick out of it, maybe a couple second rounders, a second and a third. But either way, more assets is more assets to use on the defensive front. So this is a great move for them. If they were to pull this off, then I'd applaud them. And I'd applaud New England for trading up and taking their quarterback. Like I've said before, and I forgot who described it this way. But what the New England Patriots did this offseason, and if they were to not add a quarterback, it would be like building a car, this really nice car, and not putting in an engine. That's what it would be like. And I really do agree with that. I completely forgot who said that, but I agree. You know, Cam Newton isn't going to make this car run.
Do it with me. He can do it. If anybody can, Superman can.
My ass, I'm going to say that. BS. Give me a break. That guy, like I've explained it. We're moving on from there. Anything else on here? I think Philadelphia, well, in this mock draft, all of the wide receivers go in the first 11 picks. So they really can't. They might have to address cornerback. Yeah, there's not really much out here. I think I don't know. Miami taking edge rusher.
Yeah.
I don't see that making much sense to me. It makes a little sense if it works, but what I think they really need what they actually need is more offensive line help. They've fortified everywhere else. You know, if this mock draft works how it is, they have two solid tight ends. They have two very good wide receivers, and they have a good quarterback. You know, and they have a great defense. Yep. What they need to do is fortify that offensive line, and then maybe they could get some some running back help as well. But I'm not sure if this pick really works for me.
I think they'll probably address the running back position later on in the draft because they already have like Myles Gaskin, who looks like he can fill the role. Andrew can attest to what he can do because he just lit up the Raiders last season and in fantasy as well, and made Andrew lose the game against Brian. As far as the O-line,
Andrew, what do you think? Andrew, what do you think?
Don't remind me of it.
Don't remind him of it. As far as the O-line thing, I think most of the valuable O-linemen are going in the picks before Miami, so I don't think they'll get any like Rashawn Slater. But I looked at the mock draft. Taven Jenkins is going 20. So if Miami is looking for a lineman, Taven Jenkins is the guy I would go for. Because if they're doing like a passing concept more so than a running concept, he can handle pass blocking just fine. If we're looking for a lineman. For defense, Sean would like it if they kept Kwity Paye. Sean would love it. He would love that pick. He could have Miami Dolphins Kwity Paye jersey as we speak.
Yeah, if Sean was visiting us tonight, he would definitely be arguing for that. But I just don't think that's what's good for him. And I think as a Miami Dolphins fan, he doesn't know what's good for him.
I completely agree. He said he would rather have Jalen Waddle over Jamar Chase because of Jalen Waddle's special team ability. And I was like,
one of the dumbest takes I have heard on this show.
It's not, but it's
pretty dumb. I think Jalen Waddle to me reeks of John Ross or Cordero Patterson.
Oh,
like the speed, the athletic ability, but he gets injured and he just can't put it all together. And he winds up being a very good special teams guy.
Well, he got injured once in college. We can't say he's injury prone just because he got injured once in college.
He didn't put up the numbers exactly.
They had 4 first-round wide receivers in that draft room. I wonder why he didn't put up the numbers you wanted.
If he's such a star player like we say he is, he would have been able to at least represent well enough and put up some better statistics than he has. But he really wasn't able to.
And the year before,
Devontae Smith is clearly a better player than him. Jerry Jeudy is clearly a better player than him. I just don't get it. I really don't. I think Jalen Waddle has some good abilities. He's very athletic. He's big. I don't see it.
You should see it when you have 3 other first-round talents and people can still talk about you as a talent within itself. The reason he doesn't get as much pub is because literally Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs, Devontae Smith, all 3 of them were first-round talents, and one of them is a Heisman winner. And I'm not sure he wins the Heisman if Jalen Waddle's still on. It is 100% healthy. So let's just leave it at that.
Okay, sure. We'll leave it there. I still think he's a bust, but time will tell. Time will tell. Time will tell. We'll find out.
Just like Cam Newton being your savior. Just like Cam Newton being your savior.
You know who else was a great first-round talent? Was N'Keal Harry and Jalen Reagor. And go all the way down the list. Some bum players who were drafted in the first round.
You call Jalen Reagor a bum after his first season? You can't do that.
Yeah.
Nah. He's showing flashes. I wouldn't call him a bum.
All right, so we need to move to the next part, the last part of the draft. So we've been going on about Mel Kiper's latest NFL draft, and we've gone through picks 1 through 20 so far. So now we are going to move on to picks 21 through 32. Now, to start, we have Indianapolis with the 21st pick, and they take an edge rusher out of Miami, Jalen Phillips. Then at number 22, Tennessee, they take Elijah Moore, wide receiver out of Ole Miss. With the 23rd pick in the NFL draft, the New York Jets from the Seattle Seahawks, they select Greg Newsome, cornerback, Northwestern. It's an interesting one. At number 24, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Najee Harris, out of running back out of Alabama. At number 25, Jacksonville, from the LA Rams, they take Trevon Moehrig. Moehrig?
Yeah,
it's an interesting name. He's a safety out of TCU. Then at number 26, we have Cleveland taking Jamin Davis, linebacker, Kentucky. And with the 27th pick, your Baltimore Ravens, take Terrence Marshall. Terrence Marshall Jr., wide receiver out of LSU.
Yep.
So I will be when I'm done with this, with listing all this, I do want to get your take on that. At number 28, the New Orleans Saints take Zaven Collins, linebacker out of Tulsa. At 29, Green Bay, Rashad Bateman. They get Aaron Rodgers the help that he needs. Rashad Bateman, wide receiver out of Minnesota. With the 30th pick in the NFL draft, the Buffalo Bills will select Aziz Ulujari, linebacker.
That man's name.
It's an interesting name. And now,
very interesting.
At 31, Kansas City will select Jason Owe. Edge, Penn State. So he's an edge rusher. That's what Kansas City takes. Number 32, Tampa Bay. They select Christian Barmore, defensive lineman, Alabama. All right, now, Justin, give me your thoughts on the Ravens pick.
I'm happy that we're taking a wide receiver. I'm not sure I'm happy about the wide receiver we're taking. I mean, it's the Ravens, so any wide receiver we take, I'm happy about it. But I would rather have Rashad Bateman, just a preference. I think I like him more than Terrace Marshall out of LSU. I think he's shown more when given the opportunity to show more. And I think I liked his pro day when he showed up. And I think he would fit this offense well.
See, here's the thing with this wide receiver class. It seems like it's very top heavy. Like that's some of the outside of the top three, which is going to be Jamar Chase, Devontae Smith, and Jalen Waddle. There's really not much that people are all that hyped up about. Like there's some promise, there's some upside with Rashad Bateman and Terrence Marshall Jr. But the real talent is for wide receiver is coming up in that top 11, in those top 11 picks. And don't get me wrong, they could wind up panning out, but I think the real flashy prospects are come at the top of the draft. As for Green Bay, I don't think they're getting him any help. I really don't. I think that team, it feels like that team is starting to feud a little bit with their quarterback, and it could get to a point where they wind up trading him away or he winds up leaving. That's a real possibility with how he was. I've said it before and I'll say it again. When he said a lot of players' futures around here uncertain, even myself, that may have been just in the heat of the moment. He corrected himself, but I really think in that heat of the moment, he was really, the truth came out. It's like being drunk, and when you drink alcohol, the truth comes out. And I feel like when in the heat of the moment, when his emotions were getting the best of him, he told the people what he really thought about what his time has been like in Green Bay. And I think with the way things have been going, it doesn't seem like Green Bay is very happy with him either. So I could be wrong. I hope I am because I think they're treating, as much as I've had my issues with Aaron Rodgers, I do think they haven't been treating him the best.
Yeah.
You know that saying where people try to say America is a third world country with a Gucci belt?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of the way the Green Bay Packers are. They're when you first look at them, they're this great organization, but it turns out this organization makes dumb decisions, and they waste two two all-time great quarterbacks' careers. Out of Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre, they get 2 rings out of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's unbelievable. With one quarterback in 20 years, the New England Patriots got 6 Super Bowl victories.
We ain't asked for the Patriots, then, do we? We ain't asked you all that.
I'm just saying. They were able to maximize it. I mean, it's happened before. Miami with Dan Marino, they screwed that up big time. They went to 1 Super Bowl. They didn't win any. You know, that's another thing. Green Bay, if they take a wide receiver, good for them. They're trying to keep their franchise quarterback. I'm not sure if it's going to happen, but we'll see what happens.
That's funny. When I saw that, when Mel Kiper said they're getting a wide receiver for Aaron Rodgers, I had to look at the calendar to make sure it wasn't April Fool's Day or something, because I just couldn't believe it when I saw it.
Neither can I. There was also the Jacksonville Jaguars, who take a safety in the first round. Now I get it; they're trying to fortify that defense, but haven't they already signed? I'm pretty sure they signed a couple safeties, some serviceable safeties in the first round in the draft. Why wouldn't they just get some help up front? Isn't that defense up front like horrible?
They have Josh Allen up front, so I don't think it's horrible. I think over time, I think he'll get better. I think in the secondary, I think they want a rangy guy, and there's nobody really more rangy in this draft than the safety out of TCU. So if they want somebody like that, they should go ahead and get him with the 25th pick if he's available.
Maybe they should take a linebacker, take Jamin Davis. Jamin Davis or something. I don't know. It just didn't make much sense to me. It could end up working. He could turn out like Jamal Adams and he balls out. And we'll see what actually happens. He could turn out like Cam Chancellor. That could be the new Legion of Boom or the Saxonville Jaguars.
I don't think he'll turn out like Jamal Adams, like Blitz Boy up in Seattle.
Well, we'll talk about the Jets. The Jets, Jamal Adams, when he was good. Another thing is Pittsburgh. This makes sense. Taking a running back out of that team was so one-dimensional last year that when they started 11-0, they could only manage to win. How many games? Did they win 2 games or 1 game? I'm forgetting the record. Was it 12-4 or 13-3?
12-4.
12-4.
Cleveland.
They started 11-0 and won 1 game since.
Yeah, but it was against the Colts.
Yeah, it's solid. It's solid, but still, 1 game is 1 game. If you start 11-0, I expect you to go at least 14-2.
Yeah.
14-2, 13-3, maybe. But that's holy good Lord. They need the running back. That's a big pickup for them if they can do that. If he falls down to number 24. Do you see anything else?
Not with the Steelers, no.
Just in this bottom half of the draft in general.
New Orleans taking a linebacker is intriguing because last time I checked, they did still have Demario Davis, so that's interesting. Kansas City not addressing the O-line like they should, but it's Kansas City, so they're going to Kansas City it up by getting an edge guy instead of like an O-line guy, which is shocking, which I thought they would move up in the draft to try to get like Taven Jenkins or something like that. But if they're staying at 31, God help them. And then, everything else should fall the way it should.
All right. We're getting towards the end of the episode. Justin, I'm gonna take a page out of Robert's book. What's one good thing that has happened to you this week?
Oh, geez, you're making me think about this. One good thing that, well, the week just started. It's a Tuesday, so nothing much has happened. But if I was to say one good thing, it was being notified that I won't have a class at Wednesday at 2:30. So that's the best thing that's happened to me this week. Other than that, it's been a pretty normal week.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
What about you, Adam? Anything good happened this week?
You know, I love that we're playing more football outside, kind of playing. We've been playing a lot of pickup with our friend group. We've been playing some basketball too. I'm not quite as good at basketball as I am at football. Not to say I'm like some star player at football, but I do enjoy playing it, just being out there and hanging out. Like literally, I played snaps at quarterback, and I was so you can ask Andrew about this. I was so bad, but I was just so happy to just huck the ball up there and just it was a pick, but it was just fun to be out there and just catch some passes from my buddies. You know, it's just fun to be out there. I'm glad the weather is warming up here in New England. We're in Massachusetts. So it's the weather's a little inconsistent in April, but it's fun to get out there. But all right, so that'll do it for us tonight. Thank you for listening to us. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check us out on Spotify and Google Play. Also, be sure to follow our Instagram at Fumblerooski_podcast to keep up with our podcast and the latest coverage on the NFL. Otherwise, we will see you next week. Over and out.